Hi, this is Steve O'Keefe, Executive Director of the Staunton Media Lab, welcoming you to another episode of the Staunton Media Lab, and my performance is copyright free.
I'm Coley Evans, Audio Director for the Staunton Media Lab. My performance is also copyright free.
And this edition of Staunton Media Lab, our feature is going to be Chromebook Chronicles. We are starting next week. A new time and a new program, and we'll have details about that right after the news. All right, we don't have a lot more to report in the news today. Coley's got completed some commercial work for the Staunton Media Lab. And this work is for the American Shakespeare Center. That's americanshakespearecenter.com. And if you go to that site, you'll find that they have Dr. Ralph Presents. It's a little, who's Dr. Ralph?
Dr. Ralph is Dr. Ralph Cohen, who is one of the founders of the Shakespeare Center. And he does lectures on the various plays that they present before the plays, so that people can, get an idea of what the play is going to be about, so that when they send all of the references and everything like that. And so we're editing these.
And the first one is Women Beware Women.
Yep. And then next one is Tempest.
Is the Tempest, and you can find those. You can find Women Beware Women online. Tempest coming soon, and shortly after that, we're going to have some kind of a wonderful voyage. Sea voyage. Okay, so you want to run down to the American Shakespeare Center in Staunton and pick up a program, or find out online how you can get tickets for these shows, and Dr. Ralph programs are free. So if you go to Dr. Ralph and you yell, we're going to cut you out when we edit the podcast. So just say hi to us or something. We'll get the message. It won't get through the final audio.
I guess it kind of depends on what you yell.
So that's some news. The lease situation is just we're in a perpetual hold on that, it appears. So we're waiting to hear from them, and we're exploring the possibility of other handicap accessible for this program. So if you know someplace, let us know. And we heard back from the Bezos Family Foundation. We really appreciate Jackie and Mike Bezos are the founders of that. And they have a foundation that's devoted to childhood education. And we asked them for some support for setting up the lab when we get our new space on campus. And because we're not a 501c3 nonprofit and we're a for-profit organization, we don't really meet their guidelines. And that's okay. We hope to have them as a customer. We thank you, Bezos Family Foundation, for checking us out and considering our appeal. And we're editing video and audio for you. If you want to have a podcast, we can do this for you. This is how simple this is, Coley.
Right.
We call them up. We'll call you up. We'll call you up. Then we will record an interview with you for 20 minutes. We'll cut that down to 2 or 3 minutes, whatever you want. And then that'll be given back to you as an MP3 that you can upload on your website. So you want to have a weekly podcast? You know how cheap this is? $99. You want to have a monthly podcast? Yeah, that's right. It's $99 an episode. So content marketing doesn't get any cheaper or better than that. And you should contact us at Staunton Media Lab before we come to our senses on this pricing. So, Coley, how's anybody going to get a hold of us?
Well, there's two ways. They can get a hold of you at steve.o'keefe@stauntonmedialab.com or coley.evans@stauntonmedialab.com. And Staunton has a U in it, and that's because we need you here.
Yeah, we need you. and that's a little sign language there. If you know sign language, then we need you. Especially if you're interested in video. Now, I don't know if I got this sign wrong last week, so I'm trying it this week with the V on my hand. And if you like L-I-K-E video, V-I-D-E-O, then please call me because we need help producing the podcast, and particularly on the video end of it. You can hear that Coley's doing some great job with audio, and if you haven't heard yet, check out our SoundCloud for Staunton Media Lab, and you'll hear various tutorials that have been created by Coley in the lab and some other samples of our work, and we would like to work for you too. So if you need if you want some awesome content marketing based on audio, we've got it right here at the lab. And I just want to say a couple of shout outs. I want to say Mary Kay, I hope you're feeling better, and we hope that you are on the mend and back to joining with us when you get a chance in March. And also to our perpetual virtual intern emeritus. That would be none other than Max Cross. And Max has really been helping us out like crazy now after school. If you want to get involved after school, listen to what we've got coming up about the Chromebook Chronicles. And Max is on YouTube. Check him out at Max Cross on YouTube. He does gaming, tutorials, and interviews, among other things. And to all those really who have been helpers and supporters and patiently waiting for this to move forward, we just are really enjoying the fact that every week we get better at what we're doing. And we just hope that we can continue that process. And if you want to help, we want to get your help. So let us know. Okay, so do we have a sponsor?
Yes, I believe we do.
Well, sometimes, you're looking for a place to lease, and that lease just won't come through, and it just seems like you just cannot get into gear. And what are you going to do about that?
You call Detroit Clutch Masters.
That's right, Detroit Clutch Masters.
In the Motor City.
And
right.
They will help you get it in gear, right?
Right. They really come through in the clutch, as they say.
All right. And we want to send a shout out to our friends at Detroit Clutch Masters. They're friends of the show. They're not really sponsors. But if you want to be a sponsor of the Staunton Media Lab, we would love to talk to you. We particularly want to talk to sponsors of coffee or tea.
That's right.
And
we live on that stuff here at the Media Lab.
Any sort of warm caffeinated beverage, we're your people. So come on and give us a shout and get on the show.
Right.
Okay, and today we have some exciting news in the second half of the show about the Chromebook Chronicles. And this is the Chromebook right here. And we are starting a new series. Next week, the Staunton Media Lab will be on at a new time. By
the way, you might be a little bit off mic there.
Okay, I'm putting the Chromebook in front of my mouth. Sorry about that, Coley. Very bad. And so here's the Chromebook next to me. I'm also putting it in front of my face. Doesn't help with the camera either. And you can see how thin it is, how light it is, how easy it is to just flip it around. It's got a nice screen. This is an Acer Chromebook with, I believe, an 11.5-inch screen. And this is Coley's one.
Alert. Connected to SML. Alert. Connected to SML.
And you can hear it's got Chromebox that comes on at the beginning. And Chromebox is the screen reader that comes installed with Chromebooks, and it is basically Google's screen reader program. And if you want to know how to use one of these suckers and the accessibility features that they have, well, then hurry down to our SoundCloud for Staunton Media Lab. And there you're going to see our Chromebook accessibility tutorials. It's in 4 parts. And then there's one playlist that plays all 4 parts. And Coley maybe can describe that series. He created it. He did the writing, the recording, and the editing on that.
Yeah, it's basically a 4-part series which discusses various aspects of the Chromebook, including how to turn on the Chromebox, how to log in, how to access the status tray and the accessibility settings, the shelf, the launcher, the browser. It's all there.
Okay, and so we're excited to announce that next week on March 2nd at 3:30. Now we're changing our time. We used to be 2:30 Universal Dental time.
Right? Yeah.
And now, sorry, I cut your line there. Now we're at 3:30. We haven't figured out a funny way for you to remember that. Just it's a bunch of threes. And so we're on at 3:30 on the 3rd day of the week, Wednesday, the 3rd day of the work week. It's in the middle of the day, so maybe thirds somehow will help you remember. 3:30 next Wednesday, March 2nd, March 9th, March 16th, 3 consecutive weeks, we will be doing live workshop on Chromebook Chronicles, called Chromebook Chronicles, about a combined users group and tutorial workshop on how to use and get the most out of your Chromebook. Okay, so first of all, why? Why do we use Chromebooks?
Well, first of all, they're very inexpensive. They're extremely lightweight and very portable. And they're also a completely web-based computer. So if anything happens to it, like you get a virus or something, you're not going to lose anything. You just, what do they call that? You wash it or something? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do a wash. I think that's what they call it.
I think they do call it a power wash.
Power wash. Thank you. Do a power wash, and you get all your settings back and a clean Chromebook. So there you go.
Yeah, they're really fascinating computers. And this new Chromebook workshop is going to bring together 5 or 6 people that have been using these Chromebooks, and particular emphasis on accessibility. And so that will include me. Now, I've been using a Chromebook now for a couple of years, and I'm going to be the moderator and lead this discussion and a somewhat unruly workshop and discussion. We may have Max Cross, who has also a Chromebook now. We might have Mary Kay Fian, who also has a Chromebook now. Tatiana, our operations director, will be there. She's got a Chromebook. And of course, Coley Evans, this is your Chromebook.
Yeah, we've had ours for about 2 months now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so what we're going to do, we're going to hold this workshop in Google Hangout. So all of us will be on the stage at the same time. If you want to be on the stage, that's possible, but you have to contact us and you've got to sign a release. So everybody on the stage has signed a release. We're doing this copyright free. And all of the people involved are giving up their copyright to their performance. And we're going to also be showing people's screens. We're going to be moving back and forth from person to person and talking about a variety of topics. I'll get to the topic list in just a minute. And if you want to be on the stage, you can maybe communicate with us and let us know. If you want to be in the audience, you should let us know in advance by sending email to Steve, Steve, .O'Keefe, Okeefe, at StauntonMediaLab.com. That's all one word, Staunton with a U, because we need you. MediaLab.com. And let me know if you want to be in the audience, because I believe there's a limit to the number of people that can be in the audience and participate in the sidebar chat. We're doing this as a Google Hangout. So there is a Google Hangout. There's a sidebar where we'll be talking and taking questions in the chat in the sidebar, as well as the main stage, where we will be alternating between the different people involved on the main stage. So this is going to be a hoot. It could be crazy fun. We think it's going to be informational, and we've never really tried it in the Google Hangouts format before. So we could encounter technical issues.
So I'm a little bit out of the loop here on this. So we're not going to be on YouTube here. We're going to be in Google Hangout. That's different than what we're doing right now, right?
I think it's actually not significantly different.
Okay.
Because YouTube is a Google property. This
Okay,
is a
I see.
YouTube broadcast,
Yeah.
which I think is going across as a Google Hangout online. Hang on, this looks like it's asking me for permission to do something here. I'm just going to hit the allow button again a couple of times. Allow, just in case something's going on. It says we're live. So yes, this will be a Google Hangout, and it starts next week. So what are some things we're going to cover? This is going to be pretty cool. All right, here's sort of the laundry list of topics. And that is, first of all, we're going to talk about virus protection. We're going to talk about how to set up your Chromebook. Your account with Google is intimately tied with it, so you should be aware, if you're using a Chromebook, that it's really very much hardwired to a Google account. So if you don't want to use your primary Google account, you might want to use a secondary account when
Which
you set
we
up
did,
your Chromebook.
right.
Yeah, until you're comfortable with the turf there. Also, I want to emphasize that people who don't use Chromebook will enjoy this workshop. People who use the Chrome browser will learn a lot of tips and tricks. And we've got a lot of Android apps that we're going to be covering, and that would probably be of interest to anybody using an Android phone. But we're going to start by talking about things like file storage, file naming, file transferring. Where do you put your files? Because the whole thing of a Chromebook is the files don't live on your computer. So these issues of file storage, file naming, and file transfer are fairly important to getting your Chromebook to operate well. Then we're going to talk about things like photo editing. How do you edit photos on it? How do you edit audio on it? How do you edit video on it? We'll talk about various apps. We're going to look at screen capture, how you do screen captures. We will also look at transcription, how you transcribe a session. And then other topics are Google Docs. We have a nice tutorial, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. We have a tutorial of keystrokes for Google Docs. And of course, it's voiced by Alex, the voice on the Mac computers.
Yeah, so if you're visually impaired, you just check out our SoundCloud channel or the blog, and you'll find this tutorial for keyboard shortcuts for Google Docs. That's very helpful, but we'll talk about that on the show. We'll also talk about remote access to your Chromebook, conferencing software like Skype and Google Hangouts, team sharing software like TeamViewer. We'll look at the use of headsets and how to adjust the audio controls on your computer, your Chromebook. We'll look at lighting and how you should approach taking video on your Chromebook. We're going to look at things like printing. Kind of tricky when you got a computer that's just a netbook. Printing is a little bit different. And then we'll have some tips for like how to work with the cloud in general. You might even think of it as a cloud book is really a better name for this machine, I think.
That's certainly true, yeah.
And then, of course, we'll talk about Chromebook accessibility, particularly in the opening section. And then we're going to look at some advanced subjects like Zoho. And Zoho is a suite of software that is Chromebook friendly. It's Google friendly. It's Amazon friendly. So, it's actually software that you can use without making everybody mad in the universe.
Mhm.
Seems like they all want you to use just their software. So it's kind of fun, and it'll make your Chromebook very much more productive if you know how to use Zoho. So I have been on this Chromebook trail for quite some time now. And at the end of 2014, I made a full court press to move everything in my business to the cloud. And I spent 6 weeks, basically from Thanksgiving to New Year's, trying to make that happen. And let me tell you, Coley, the cloud was not ready for me.
Yeah.
It was like pushing a river. And so I tried to force my business to be on the cloud before it was the cloud, I think, was really ready for this kind of a business. And I had to retreat. And so I've spent the last year sort of licking my wounds on this push to be on the cloud. And I've learned a lot of lessons about how to make the cloud work for me and what I can't really get out of the cloud yet. And you know what? That gap is shrinking every day. There's almost nothing I cannot get from the cloud anymore. And what that means is that you can do almost anything you want with a computer that costs less than $200. That if it fell overboard on your trip across the ferry in Puget Sound, or if it fell over when you're on the Staten Island ferry or something, you wouldn't even care about it. I mean, you'd care about the pollution that it was causing, but really the device, it would mean nothing to you. If you leave it somewhere, who cares? It's you care about the money you're out to replace it, but you're not going to lose any of your data. You're not going to lose any of your capabilities, your subscriptions, or it's not all tied up with the hardware. The hardware is just a gateway to this universe called the cloud, where all these applications live. And now those applications have gotten so good that not only can you put all your business to the cloud, you can take advantage of capabilities by doing so that are simply not available to people unless they put their stuff on the cloud.
And by the way, one thing I also wanted to mention was that's another thing we should talk about too. If your Chromebook were to get stolen or something, because you can, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can go into your account with, say, another computer and prevent somebody from accessing your account with the Chromebook, if they steal it. You see what I'm saying?
That's correct. You can require a passcode to open it if you want, and you can also basically lock it down. If it were lost or stolen, it just becomes a piece of inert hardware.
Yeah.
So it has no data. That's the great thing about no storage. But it does have the keys to your accounts. So you do have to, in that regard, you have to be somewhat cautious. If you leave it unlocked and you have stored all your passwords on there somewhere, then you could still have trouble. So we don't mean to make it sound just like it's not got any vulnerabilities. You still have to be clever about use your wits with your data, but it really is, it's a new world, I think. And also it's a new world of accessibility. So for example, now the cloud is ready for your business. A year ago, probably not. And depending on your business, of course. And next year, the cloud will be much more accessible than it is now. It's kind of so. Wouldn't you say, Coley?
Yeah.
A lot of the apps we test are pretty good, but then it only takes one bad flaw to make the software not accessible.
Yep.
And so we'll keep testing the accessibility of all of these various apps that run on the Chromebook, and we'll keep recommending them to you. You watch this broadcast, then you know that we love the Chromebook, and we often have tips about software that we found that makes the Chromebook more accessible and more useful. And so that's our series starting next Wednesday for 3 Wednesdays in a row at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Chromebook Chronicles from the Staunton Media Lab, a Google Hangout with a stage of experts, so-called experts, or people who are in the workshop, and an audience full of questioners. Yeah, and if you want to be involved, just let us know, and we'll post more information on it online. So remember that new time for the Staunton Media Lab, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays, and we'll see you next week for the first installment of the Chromebook Chronicles. I'm Steve O'Keefe saying so long.
Billy Evans saying so long as well. Until next week, new month, new time.